और मोहम्मद वाल मोहम्मद सलवात। औज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। यासीन वल कुरानिल हकीम इन्नका लमिनल मुरसलीन अला सिरातिम मुस्तकीम। तंज़ीलल अज़ीज़िर रहीम लितुनज़िरा क़ौमम मा उनज़िरा आबाउहुम फ़हुम गाफ़िलून। लक़द हक़्क़ल क़ौलु अला अक्सरिहिम फ़हुम ला युअमिनून। इन्ना जअलना फ़ी अअनाक़िहिम अग़लालन फ़हिय इलल अज़क़ान फ़हुम मुक़महून। वजअलना मिन बैनि अयदीहिम सद्दन व मिन ख़ल्फ़िहिम सद्दन फ़अग़शयनाहुम फ़हुम ला युबसिरून। वसवाअन अलैहिम अनज़रतहुम अम लम तुनज़िरहुम ला युअमिनून। इन्नमा तुनज़िरु मन इत्तबअ ज़िक्र व ख़शियर रहमान बिलग़ैब फ़बश्शिरहु बिमग़फ़िरतिन व अज्रिन करीम। इन्ना नहनु नुह्यिल मौता व नक्तुबु मा क़द्दमू व आसारहुम व कुल्ल शैइन अहसैनाहु फ़ी इमामिम मुबीन। वज़रिब लहुम मसलन अस्हाबल क़रिया इज़ जाअहल मुरसलून। इज़ अरसलना इलैहिम इस्नैन फ़कज़्ज़बूहुमा फ़अज़्ज़ज़ना बिसालिसिन फ़क़ालू इन्ना इलैकुम मुरसलून। क़ालू मा अंतुम इल्ला बशरुम मिस्लना व मा अंज़लर रहमानु मिन शैइन इन अंतुम इल्ला तकज़िबून। क़ालू रब्बुना यअलमु इन्ना इलैकुम लमुरसलून व मा अलैना इल्लल बलागुल मुबीन। क़ालू इन्ना ततय्यरना बिकुम लइन लम तंतहू लनरजुमन्नकुम व लयमस्सन्नकुम मिन्ना अज़ाबुन अलीम। क़ालू ताइरुकुम मअकुम अइन ज़ुक्किरतुम बल अंतुम क़ौमुम मुस्रिफ़ून। वजाअ मिन अक़सल मदीनति रजुलुन यसअ क़ाल या क़ौमि इत्तबिउल मुरसलीन इत्तबिउ मन ला यसअलुकुम अज्रन व हुम मुहतदून। वमा लिय ला अअबुदुल्लज़ी फ़तरनी व इलैहि तुरजऊन। अत्तख़िज़ु मिन दूनिही आलिहतन युरिदनिर रहमानु बिज़ुर्रिन ला तुग़नि अन्नी शफ़ाअतुहुम शयअन व ला युनक़िज़ून। इन्नी इज़्ज़न लफ़ी ज़लालिम मुबीन। इन्नी आमन्तु बिरब्बिकुम फ़स्मऊन। क़ील उदख़ुलिल जन्नह क़ाल या लैत क़ौमी यअलमून बिमा ग़फ़र ली रब्बी वजअलनी मिनल मुक्रमीन। वमा अंज़लना अला क़ौमिही मिन बअदिही मिन जुन्दिन मिनस समाइ वमा कुन्ना मुनज़िलीन। इन कानत इल्ला सयहतन वाहिदतन फ़इज़ा हुम ख़ामिदून। या हसरतन अलल इबाद मा यअतीहिम मिन रसूलिन इल्ला कानू बिही यस्तहज़िऊन। अलम यरौ कम अहलकना क़ब्लहुम मिनल क़ुरून अन्नहुम इलैहिम ला यरजिऊन। व इन कुल्लुन लम्मा जमीउन लदैना मुहज़रून। व आयतुल लहुमुल अर्ज़ुल मैततु अह्यैनाहा व अख़रजना मिन्हा हब्बन फ़मिन्हु याकुलून। वजअलना फ़ीहा जन्नातिन मिन नख़ीलिन व अनाबिन वफ़ज्जरना फ़ीहा मिनल उयून लियअकुलू मिन समरिही व मा अमिलतहु अयदीहिम अफ़ला यशकुरून। سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مسلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاع إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا ونطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا سيئة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ووعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا سيئة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلمون نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مزيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكس في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إننا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم للذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات بسم الله على محمد وآل محمد. Please recite the Surah Fatiha.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله يا إمام الرحمة يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا وصي الحسن والخلف الحجة، أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. حاجات. يا سادتي ومواليا، إني توجهت بكم أئمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله، وتوسلت بكم إلى الله، واستشفعت بكم إلى الله، فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله، فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله، وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله، فكونوا عند الله رجائي. يا سادتي يا أولياء الله، صلى الله عليهم أجمعين، ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين، آمين رب العالمين. اللهم
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
Let's recite a loud salawat in the honor of Sayyidah Fatimah alayhi salam. Fatima Zahra, Fatima Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, ऐ मेरी बीबी, ऐ मेरी बीबी, तेरे दर पे इस्तिग़ासा है, तेरा ममनून मेरे शहज़ादी and bars. How could we not shed a tear for you when we see the pain that you went through? Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra. From a young age you have faced tyranny, felt great pain as you lost your baby, suffered sorrow as your father left you, yet to stay strong we wish to be like you. Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra. Meri bibi, meri bibi, बस तू ही मुराद देती है, तेरी चौक दर इलाही का इख्तियार है. या ज़हरा, या ज़हरा. फर्श मदले पे और मुसल्ले पर हर जवा कह रहा है रो रो कर, हम रहे ना रहे मगर बीबी ता क़यामत रहे है गम सरवर. या ज़हरा, या ज़हरा. सय्यदतुन निसाइल आलमीन, leader of the women of world. You're the center of the pure Ahlul Bayt, chief of all those mentioned ladies so great. Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra. By Mawla side after Rasulullah, he stood up to the thugs of Medina. When the door came crashing down on you, Mohsen taken goodly away from you. Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya मेरी बीबी, मेरी बीबी, देख कर तेरी मुसीबत को सारे आलम का दिल मसाइब से पारा पारा है. या ज़हरा, या ज़हरा. तेरी दिल पर है जो सितम तूते, जिंदगी में जो तूने गम देके, आसमान और ज़मीन पर होते मिस्ल शब वो सियाह हो जाते. या ज़हरा, या ज़हरा. फातिमा ज़हरा, फातिमा ज़हरा. सलवात.
محمد صلوات. کیا حال یہ امت نے، کیا حال یہ امت نے زہرا کا بنایا ہے. پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے. پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے. کیا حال یہ امت نے زہرا کا بنایا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے۔ خاتون کوئی غم سے یوں چھوڑے نہیں دیکھی، ایسی کوئی دنیا میں مستور نہیں دیکھی۔ 18 برس میں ہی لگتی جو صحیفہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے۔ ارے دربار میں ظالم نے کی ایسی پذیرائی، کس طرح سے تو بی بی پھر لوٹ کے گھر آئی، بالوں کی سفیدی نے سب حال سنایا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے۔ تو روتی رہی گھر میں حیدر سے بھی چھپ چھپ کے، عصمت کی طرح دکھ بھی پردے میں رہے تیرے، کچھ درد تیرے بی بی بس جانتی فضا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے۔ ہر دو ایسے جنازے ہیں، دو ایسے جنازے ہیں تاریکی میں جو تھے، بس گھر کے ہی لوگوں نے دونوں کو دیے کاندھے، ایک فاطمہ زہرا ہے، ایک بالی سکینہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے۔ ہر مہدی سے کوئی پوچھے کیا اس پہ گزرتی ہے، آواز بقیہ سے جب رونے کی آتی ہے، آنکھوں سے لہو رو کر وہ بھی یہی کہتا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے۔ اور کیا حال یہ امت نے زہرا کا بنایا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے۔ محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔
بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. ویران کر کے یہ گھر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. نانا نہیں ہے سر پہ تم بھی چلی جہاں سے. نانا نہیں ہے سر پہ تم بھی چلی جہاں سے. مر جائیں گے تڑپ کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. اماں ذرا تو بولو آنکھیں تو اپنی کھولو. اماں ذرا تو بولو آنکھیں تو اپنی کھولو. چلتا ہے دل پہ خنجر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. بہنوں کا حال دیکھو بابا کا حال دیکھو. بہنوں کا حال دیکھو بابا کا حال دیکھو. سب رو رہے ہیں مل کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. فضا ہے سر جھکائے اپنے جگر کو تھامے. فضا ہے سر جھکائے اپنے جگر کو تھامے. دے دے نہ جان رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. بن ماں کے ہو گئے ہم کیسا ملا ہمیں غم. بن ماں کے ہو گئے ہم کیسا ملا ہمیں غم. ہم سے پھرا مقدر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. حسنین بولے رو کر اماں کہاں چلی ہو. سلطان دست زہرا باہر کفن سے نکلے. سلطان دست زہرا باہر کفن سے نکلے. جس وقت بولے سرور اماں کہاں چلی ہو. हसनैन बोले रोकर, अम्मा कहाँ चली हो वीरान करके ये घर, अम्मा कहाँ चली हो। सलवात फरमा।
Okay, my dear scholars, brothers, sisters, and children, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So as we all know, today is the Shahadat night of Bibi Fatima, Salamullahi alayha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, here at Masjid Husayn, Leicester. And today we only have two announcements, so I'll run through them really quickly. So announcement number one is the Imam Reza alayhi salam hardship fund. And I think we've got a video just to play on that one. So Brother Zain, can we please play the video?
The Imam Reza Hardship Fund. The cost of living has reached an astounding level within the UK. The Council of European Jamaat seeks to alleviate financial hardships for its members. Complete confidentiality and support is available for those who require it. The data shown represents the alarming amount of households who have been directly affected by the increased costs in fuel, food, and living expenses. Through your support and donations, we can financially assist those most affected. As an applicant, you can request for up to £500 per household. We ensure confidentiality is maintained throughout and your details are not shared. As a donor, we rely on your generosity to provide this service. Donations can be made via our website with the link shown. We thank you for your support and du'as. Together we serve.
Thank you, Brother Zain. So as you can see, with the cost of living spiraling out of control at the moment, Courage are encouraging those families that are struggling to apply for this fund, and also donors to contribute towards this fund. Every family has a right to financial dignity with full confidentiality and trust. This is how the fund will be dispersed to any member who applies. So if anybody is in need, please visit the Courage website for more information. And like we said, it is a fully confidential service. Announcement number two is a contribution towards Ayyam Fatimiyah. So as we commemorate the Shahadat of Bibi Fatima, Salamullahi alayha, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's not forget that this would not be possible without your valuable contributions. I think Sayyid mentioned this a few days ago, that it is the right of the mosque and also the right of ours to contribute however much we can towards the Lady of Light's remembrance. So for those wishing to contribute, please visit the Treasury desk outside in the foyer or make your contributions online. And you'll be glad to hear there the two announcements. Tonight's Majlis is sponsored for the following marhumeens. So can we please recite Surah Fatiha for them? Al-Fatiha. So right now it's time for tonight's Majlis, but before I invite Sayyid to the Mimbar, the Management Committee and the Leicester Jamaat would like to thank Sayyid for his insightful and educational lectures during this year's Ayyam Fatimiyah program. Also, the variation of Urdu and English lectures we think worked very well and gave us all something to ponder. Inshallah, we look forward to welcoming him back, inshallah, in the near future. Inshallah. So can we now welcome Sayyid Ali Reza Rizvi to the Mimbar to deliver tonight's lecture with 3 loud salawats, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa
محمد وعجل فرجه. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي نور قلوب العارفين بنور معرفته وأثبت فؤاد أنبيائه وأوليائه بقصص الأنبياء والمرسلين وأكمل إيمان المسلمين والمؤمنين بولاية علي أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام. والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أفضل الموجودات العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أعني أبا القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. وعلى روحه ونفسه وسهره ووسيه سيد الأتقياء والأصفياء مولى الموالي إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى أوصيائه لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفدا واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قالت فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها: الحمد لله على ما ألهمه وله الشكر على ما أنعمه. صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد. For the past 4 nights I have been speaking on the khutbah and the sermon of Hazrat Fatimah Zahra Salamullahi alaiha. And tonight I would like to conclude the sermon. So tomorrow, a short majlis in the afternoon, mainly just concluding the topic and masaib. There are many aspects of the sermon that need to be read, studied, and then researched for people to understand the sermon of the best lady to have ever lived. And she describes the entire religion. There are many aspects of the sermon that I could not touch upon, even talk about. This sermon requires more than just 5 majalis. Probably in the future and in the past you may have heard, but in the future you may hear other people speak on this sermon. There are many scholars who have written books on this sermon. And there are many, many great scholars who have explained and given commentary on the sermon of Hazrat Fatimah Zahra Salamullahi alaiha. She's gone into a lot of detail. In the same household where there are same father and mother, all the children are not the same. Every child is different. Although they have the same genes, the same upbringing, the same parents, but the children have different potential. They have different capabilities. They have different characters. Their features may not be 100% the same. Sometimes they do look alike. And their personalities are different. So this whole world has so many people. There may be repeats, different similar characters. And there are always similar characters. But even in the same household, sometimes not everyone is the same. There can be people who are similar. So it is extremely important sometimes to make sure that you listen to the khutbah of Hazrat Zahra, how to live a good life where you fulfill your duties. If others are not fulfilling their duties, you fulfill your duty. I hope I can convey this. Many a times we say, why me? Why have I been put through this trial? Why do I have to go through this trial? Why did I have to have the theft or an illness or a trial? But we never say with all of the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, why did you choose me? When complaining, we say, why me? But when we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we never say, why me? You see, Tawheed is to not look at the negatives. I hope I can convey it, please. You know, it is very easy to take out negative from the negative. And it is very easy to take out positive from the positive. But there are people who take out negative even from the positive. Yes? There are people who will just take out negative. From something very good, they'll just take out something negative. One of my teachers, you know, in Qom, he held a white paper and he put a small black dot on it. And he said, what is this? Everyone said black dot. He said, no, it's a white paper. I'm not conveying it. I'm not sure if people are getting to it. You know, you overlook the whole white paper. You just look at the small one dot. You know, many times we have habits of animals, insects, and different things, birds. Although we are human beings, we should rid ourselves of the animalistic habits. We do have a lot of, you know, we are, after all, social animals. We are, according to biology, yes? Have you seen a fly? You know, the habit of a fly is that the whole body is clean. You have a small wound. It will ignore the whole clean body. It will come and sit on the wound. So some people have that bad habit of being a wound, you know, like a fly. I don't care if you want to listen or not. It's my final night. I will say what I want to say. Don't have the habits of flies. You know, have the habits of human beings. So to draw a negative even from a positive is a very low habit. But the best quality is to draw positive even from a negative. That is very difficult. Look at the Imam alayhi salam. The seventh Imam is in the prison. He doesn't complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I'm one of the best people on earth. Why am I in prison? He says, Oh Allah, how shall I thank you enough? I ask for you to have time alone with me. You have given me such time in the prison where there is no one but you and there is no one but I. पता नहीं लोग हैं या नहीं. परवरदिगार तेरा कैसे शुक्र अदा करूं? मैंने तन्हाई मांगी थी, तूने ऐसी तन्हाई दी है कि ना सिवाय तेरे कोई और है ना सिवाय मेरे कोई और है. Even from negative they can draw positive. That is very difficult. And that is the highest level of faith. Even the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam sometimes in the most difficult times will have positives. It is extremely important that you speak out against oppression. You don't take it. Don't take oppression. Because taking oppression is siding with the oppression. You have to speak up against oppression. And Amir al-Mu'minin in his last will says to Imam Husayn alayhi salam, he says, Kuna lil-zalimi khasman walil-mazlumi auna. Always be assistance to the oppressed and a loud voice against oppression. But if you ever had to choose between oppression and being oppressed, then never oppress. Kun mazluman wala takun zalima. You can be oppressed but never be the oppressor. Why? Because Allah sides with the oppressed. You may think, what can this man do for me? You know, what can this weak elderly man do against me? What can this woman do against me? What can this child do against me? I can kill him. He is no one. No, don't take that weak person to be lonely because God is on their side. Whoever God is on their side, fear them. Fear them. Why? The fourth Imam says, because huwa asra'ul hasibin, huwa ahsabul hasibin. He is the greatest of the reckoners and he is the swiftest of the reckoners. He takes a revenge very quick. And the one who has no one but God, God takes a revenge. I'm not sure if people are here. You know, the people were thinking, who can she bring? She has no brothers. Her sons are little. Her father is dead. Her husband has given an oath to the Holy Prophet he will not fight because, fighting against an enemy of Islam is very easy. But the inner enemy is the most difficult thing to fight against. Even the greatest of the scholars, like someone like Shaheed Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Sadr, you know what he said? He said, I fought against communism. I fought against capitalism, social, everything. Don't make me fight the Shia within. I cannot do that. He closed his house. He sat at home. He said, I will not teach, but I will not fight an internal battle. The internal battles are the most difficult. I hope people are here. Amirul Mu'mineen, commander of the faithful, is one of the most oppressed personalities of the mankind of all times. Why? Because he had to fight internal battles. It were people who were saying, we are Muslims. And the people went to the extent of calling him kafir. Ya Ali akfarta, Ya Ali, you're kafir. The Holy Prophet is saying, he is kulle iman. And there are people who pray and say, Ya Ali, you are kafir. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Can you imagine? Hazrat Fatima Zahra had a very difficult duty. She saw that when now Muslims are quiet, they're not speaking in defense of Amirul Mu'mineen, commander of the faithful, my Imam. When men do not speak, then she felt a duty to speak. So she is the greatest mujahida in the way of wilayat. You see, because Allah, the Holy Prophet said, Akbarul jihadi kalimatul haqq indal ja'ir. The greatest of jihad is to speak up against the oppressor. Hazrat Fatima is the greatest of the mujahidas of all times. Because she saw that there is oppression against Amir al-Mu'mineen. She spoke up. And she did not just speak up. She did not allow the oppressors to have any peace of mind. She continuously preached against them to the women of Medina. People paying attention? I wanted to talk about building of tombs because it is 100 years of, the destruction, 100 years to the destruction of Jannatul Baqi. If I get time, I will, inshallah, touch upon it. But I wanted to talk about the life and, the contribution of Hazrat Fatima Zahra. She did not, any lady that came to visit her, because visiting a person who is unwell is one of the greatest ibadat. In the Hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to his servant on the day of judgment, Abdi, O my servant, why did you not come and visit me when I was ill? The servant will say, Subhanaka, glory be to thee. You never become sick. He said, but if you visited so and so mu'min brother of yours, you would get the thawab of visiting Allah on his throne. I'm not sure if people are here. अगर तू अपने मोमिन भाई की इयादत के लिए जाता तो अर्श आज़म पे अल्लाह की ज़ियारत का सवाब मिलता. Now the whole of Medina, the women had heard Hazrat Zahra is not well. So the women were coming to visit her. Yes? All these ladies visiting her. Whoever came and visited her, she expressed her grief. She cried, Bibi, why are you so angry and why are you so upset? She said, have you not heard the right of Ali ibn Abi Talib has been taken away? And then she took some names. She always took two names. I will not mention. She mentioned two names. She said, be my witness that so long as I live, I will be unpleased with these two men. And as soon as I meet my father, the first complaint I will make to him will be about these two men. Can you imagine? She spoke so much against them that every person in Medina heard and now started talking about that Hazrat Fatima Zahra salam alaiha is upset with two people, two men. Everyone with me? Everyone is talking about these two men. It happened so commonly that the whole of Medina knew, and even they started hearing from people that she talks against you. Even in Sahih Bukhari, it mentions, yes? A lady saying that Fatima died, but she was never pleased with my father. Lamma mana'aha fadak. when he denied her her claim of fadak. In a book called Al-Imamatu wa Siyasa by Ibn Qutayba Danwari, he died in 295 Hijrah, if I'm not mistaken. So he wrote this book before that. Can you imagine? One of the earliest books. Al-Imamatu wa Siyasa. Imamat, leadership and politics. In volume number 1, page number 37, he writes, he says that it became a common news in the city of Medina that Fatima Zahra, the daughter of the Holy Prophet, is upset with Shaykh and two men. They heard. And they spoke to Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam in Masjid al-Nabi. And they said, Ya Ali, we have heard Fatima is upset. Fatima is angry with us. Why was it so important that Fatima is angry? Because the Holy Prophet had said, and this is in Sahih Bukhari, Inna Allah yaghdibu li ghadabiha wa yarda li ridaha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angered with the anger of Fatima. And He is pleased with the pleasure of Fatima. Allah Fatima के राजी होने से राजी हो जाता है, नाराज होने से नाराज हो जाता है. यानी जिसने रजी अल्लाह अन्हो बनना है, फातिमा को राजी करे. Allah is angered with her anger and He is pleased with her pleasure. So if anyone wants to become radiyallahu anhu, they cannot see God, they have to please Fatima to Zahra. If she is pleased, then they become radiyallahu anhu. Did I convey that? Obviously this is not in the book, this is my analysis. The hadith of the Holy Prophet is that Allah is pleased with whoever she is pleased with. When they heard this, obviously the brothers say that they from their heart said that we want to speak to her and apologize. But sometimes, you're under pressure from the community and from the city because everyone is talking about you. You say, well, I don't think I've done anything wrong, but because everyone is against me, I'll apologize. I'm not going to give my analysis on it. So they both said, Ya Ali, we want to speak to Fatima to Zahra. So he said, no, I do not wish for you to speak to her. So they started bringing all the people in Masjid al-Nabi. Everyone said, Ya Ali, we need to speak to her. So the whole city gathered, and Al-Imamat wa Siyasa mentions, he's Ibn Qutayba Danwari in his book. He says that the whole city gathered to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen's house was right next to Masjid al-Nabi. Ya Ali, we need to speak to her. Everyone said, Ya Ali, why don't you allow them to explain themselves? So he said, okay, let me speak to Fatima. Imam Ali alayhi salam came home and said, Yabnata Rasulillah. He would not call her by her name. He always said, O daughter of the Holy Prophet. He gave her the utmost respect. O daughter of the Holy Prophet, Shaykhain want to speak to you. Two men want to speak to you. Marhum Agha Jazairi says that this is the first time Hazrat Zahra refused. I do not wish to see them. Imam Ali alayhi salam put his head down and said, Fatima, I gave my word. She said, then make me face the wall, place a curtain behind my bed, so they cannot see me when they enter the house. And I do not wish to face them. As soon as both of them entered, one of them spoke and said, Yabnata Rasulillah, they both said salam. She did not reply. My analysis here, in Islam, it is mustahab to do salam, but it is wajib to reply to the salam. But there is a condition that the person saying salam has to be a Muslim. It is not wajib to reply to the salam of a non-Muslim. You can. I'm not sure if people are here. For example, if a Hindu comes and says Assalamu alaikum, I can say Namaste or something like that. A Sikh comes and says Assalamu alaikum to me, and I can say Sat Sri Akal. Yes, I can reply, but he has greeted it in my greetings, and I can reply to him in his greetings. I'm not sure if people are here. I can reply to him in his greetings. But if a Muslim says salam, it is wajib upon me to reply in the same manner. But I have to believe that the person addressing me with salam is a Muslim. I challenge all the Muslims. You either tell me that Fatima to Zahra did not know this mas'ala. I'm not sure if people are here. You either say that she didn't know the mas'ala, that every child knows in Islam, or she did not believe that these people are. I didn't say anything. So came and said, Assalamu alaikum ya bint Rasulillah. She did not reply. She was upset. We have heard that the whole city is talking about your anger. You are upset with us. She said, have you heard my father? Who? Ibn Qutayba. He's not Shia. Ibn Qutayba Danwari al-Imamat wa Siyasa, page number 37, volume number 1. He says, she asked a question from the two of them. She said, have you heard my father? Inna Allaha yaghdibu li ghadabi Fatima wa yarda li ridaha. Indeed, Allah is angered with the anger of Fatima and pleased with the pleasure of Fatima. They both said, yes, we have heard this hadith. She said, have you heard my father? Fatima tu bada'atum minni. Fatima is a part of me. Yudhini ma adaha. Whatever hurts her hurts me. And whatever hurts me hurts Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Waman adallah dakhala nar. Whoever upsets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enters the hellfire. Have you not heard this hadith? They both said, yes, we have heard. He said, then be my witness. Wallahi, by God, I'm angry with both of you. And so long as I live, after every prayer, I will complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you upset me. And after I leave this world, I will complain to my father Rasulullah that you upset me. One of them started crying and left, that I do not wish this Khilafah to be mine after Fatima to Zahra is upset. The second one came and said, are you going to listen to women now? And leave the government because of a woman's tears? Leave it. Don't tell the people what she said. And they both left and said, okay, we have sorted everything out. The lady started coming to the house of Fatima to Zahra salamullah alaiha again and said, Bibi, is everything okay? She said, I'm not going to forgive them until they reverse everything, until they return everything. What was the matter? Was it really about wealth? I'm not sure if people are here. Am I upsetting anyone? Is it? Can you all say salawat and just move a little forward, please? Allah. Muhammadin wa alim. Yeah. It is not a matter of wealth, property, administration that many of the Muslims are now making it out to be. It was a matter of administration, matter of wealth. You know, she is the daughter of Khadijatul Kubra, who was Malikatul Arab, the richest woman in the Arabian Peninsula. And when she left the world, she had no kafan. She had no shroud. She made a will to the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulallah, my will is that you bury me in my clothes. You know, when one of the wives of the Holy Prophet said to him, you have better wives than Khadija now. He said, Wallahi, by God, Allah never gave me a wife better than Khadija. She believed in me when people were calling me a liar. She gave her wealth to me when people were escaping from me and calling me a madman, Majnoon. She gave me Fatima when people were calling me Abtar. And even on her deathbed, when she knew that people of Makkah have boycotted me, I cannot go out and get a kafan. She knew in my Sharia it is wajib to fulfill a will. She made a will that bury me in my clothing because I couldn't get the shroud, I couldn't get the kafan. So she made a will. She gave everything for the sake of Muslims. Do you think the daughter of such a lady, Hazrat Khadijatul Kubra, gave everything, all her wealth for the sake of Islam and Muslims? Do you think Hazrat Fatima to Zahra would make such a big issue for a garden of dates? Why did the Holy Prophet give fadak to Hazrat Fatima? Because he knew she is the daughter of Khadija. When Muslims are poor, if they come to her, she will not eat herself. She will give everything for the Muslims. That's why he gave it to her. It wasn't fadak. She wanted the whole world to know that it is Fatima who went and claimed this is mine. The lady who Allah says is Siddiqa Kubra, the greatest truthful lady to have ever lived. The Muslims said, we do not accept your claim, you are lying. Ayatollah Milani says that, Sayyid Ali Milani in Qom, he says the greatest oppression on Fatima to Zahra is that the Muslims did not accept her claim and the Christians did. You know, when she went to Mubahala, the Christians said, we do not wish to do Mubahala because the personalities that are coming are so revered that if they prayed against the Christians, there will be no Christian living on the surface of the earth. And the Muslims said to that same lady, we do not accept your claim. And she said, أقول عودا وبدوا ولا أقول ما أقول غلطا ولا أفعل ما أفعل شططا. Wallahi, by God, I do not lie. I do not make mistakes. Quran is her witness. And the Muslims, so-called Muslims, said, we do not accept your claim. We reject your witnesses. We will not give you fadak. You know, in Urdu, 2 nights ago I had said, and I just want to quickly just say one sentence from that portion of my majlis. Who did she bring as witnesses? Amir al-Umanin, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Husayn alayhi salam, you know, and Hazrat Ayman. When the Khalifa rejected the 3 witnesses or the 4 witnesses, do you think if she had asked any one of the Muslims present, any one of the Sahaba, like Hazrat Salman, Abu Dhar, Miqdad, Ammar, Hudhaifa, all of these Sahaba, do you not think that they would have said, yes, we are willing to give witness for you? They would have. But she did not ask for any of the Sahaba to give witness. She said, no, I want the whole world to know that my 3 witnesses were rejected who are masoom. Infallibles were rejected. When you reject an infallible, you don't believe, fine. But if you reject, there's a difference between accepting or not believing and rejecting. I hope people understand that. Yes? They rejected the witnesses of Hazrat Fatima Zahra and still call themselves Muslims. He said, I don't want any more witnesses. I don't want anyone to give witness for me. I will now make this a case on the Day of Judgment where Allah will be the judge. Wal hakamullah was Za'im Muhammad. And person fighting my case will be my father, the Holy Prophet. My witnesses will be Ali, Hassan and Husayn alayhi salam. Then I will see if you still reject my case. It is extremely important to understand. Very quickly, I want to touch upon, the destruction of Jannatul Baqi. It is coming to 100 years this year when it was destructed. And the Muslims are using one ayat and a few hadiths to say that no, building tombs on graves is bid'at and haram. There are 3 terms that they have used: bid'at, shirk, and haram. Bid'ah is innovation, something which did not exist in Islam. Shirk is counting someone equal to God. And haram, which is forbidden. पता नहीं ये 3 लफ्ज़ों ही में मुसलमान क्यों फंसे हुए हैं? I will not translate that into English. So there are these 3 terms that the Muslims use for constructing tombs or constructing buildings. Yes? So they say building a tomb or a wall or a roof over a grave is forbidden and haram. And they use this ayat from Surah Tawbah. Surah Tawbah is Surah number 9, verse number 84. Very quickly I want to touch upon it. If I go 5-10 minutes over, please forgive me. I know I've made it very dry, but I want to make these points tonight. Surah number 9. So they say, وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ. Do not stand on the graves, on their graves. So they use this verse, Surah number 9, verse number 84. وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ. Do not stand on the grave. Who? O my messenger, to the Holy Prophet, Allah says, do not stand on the graves. Don't visit them. Why do the Muslims have a habit of using half the verse and not full? Read the oncoming parts of this verse. إِنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. For indeed they rejected the Almighty and His Messenger. وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ. And when they died, they were oppressors, they were fasiq, they were unjust. So Allah is telling the messenger to not stand or visit the graves of fasiqeen. हम भी ये कहते हैं फासिकों की कब्रों पे मान जाओ, सिर्फ मासूमीन की कब्रों पे आओ. This is the same thing that we propagate. Don't visit the unjust people, fasiq, oppressors. Number 1. Number 2, Surah 18, Surah Kahf, verse number 21. Everyone with me so far? Very quickly I'll conclude, please. I know these are difficult days, so severe winter. If we have less heat, then inshallah people will bear with me longer. Allah. Ali Muhammad. Look at this verse. Have you heard about Ashab Kahf, the people of the cave? قَالَ الَّذِينَ غَلَبُوا عَلَىٰ أَمْرِهِمْ, the ones who had success in controlling the affairs of Ashab Kahf. What did they say? قَالُوا ibnu, construct عَلَيْهِمْ masjida, construct a masjid above them. Allah mentions this verse but does not say it is bid'ah to construct a masjid. Ibadat ga masjid. Alayhim masjidah. The word used in the Holy Quran, Surah Kahf, verse number 21, 18:21. You can go and check, cross-reference. Allah very clearly says that the people who were believers, who believed in Ashab Kahf, said that construct a masjid upon them. And here Allah does not say it is bid'at, haram, shirk. A number of references. Reference number 3, the Holy Prophet made a will. Ya Ali, bury me in my house. House. Not Jannatul Baqi. Bury me in my house. House already had walls and a roof. If it was bid'at, shirk and haram to have a building above a grave, the Holy Prophet would have said, Ya Ali, once you bury me, then drop the house. Dismantle it. Destroy it. He does not say that. In fact, leave Imam Ali alayhi salam out for a minute. What about the wives of the Holy Prophet? Not only they lived in the same house, they continuously visited the grave of the Holy Prophet. And no one says that the Ummahatul Mu'mineen were doing shirk or bidat or haram. Not only that they visited, when the Sahaba came and knocked and said, Ummahatul Mu'mineen, can we visit the grave of the Holy Prophet? They would not say, this is bid'at, this is shirk, this is haram. They said, wait, let us all do hijab, then you can come inside and visit the Holy Prophet. So it was, and Ummahatul Mu'mineen did stop the people. They did teach the ahkam to the people. I don't want to tell you all the ahkam they taught. But they did teach ahkam. They did tell people wudu, ghusl and other ahkam. But they did not say this is bidat, shirk and haram. They allowed the people, the Sahaba, to come in and visit. In fact, they said, read this ziyarat or read this when you visit the Holy Prophet. So it is mustahab to visit the Holy Prophet. Otherwise the Holy Prophet would have said, don't visit me. In fact, he says, Man zarani ba'da mamati kaman zarani fi hayati. Anyone who visits me after I leave this world is equal to the one who visits me while I'm alive. Very quickly, when I first went on Hajj about 20 something years back, have you seen Hajr Ismail? Khana Kaaba, Baitullah, house of God. And then you have a semicircle. Yes? It was open on both ends when I first did Hajj. You can ask your older people. It was open on both ends. But then later on, they said, no, we'll leave only one side open. So the side from the door of the Kaaba, we will close. Why? Because it is wajib according to all the fiqh of the Shias and all the fiqh of the Sunnis, to do tawaf of Kaaba, circumambulation of Kaaba from outside the semicircle, and not do the tawaf from inside. And many people, because they see something open, they just accidentally come in, or they don't know the masala, so they come in. So they closed it off. Ask them, why is this called Hajr Ismail or Shadrawan or Hatim? Why is it called Hajr Ismail? Because there are 19 graves inside, one of Hazrat Hajra, one of Hazrat Ismail, and 18 other Anbiya, prophets and messengers of God. If it was bid'at to do tawaf of a grave, then Allah would say, take the graves out or do tawaf from inside. But all of the imams and all the jurists of all the Muslims believe that it is wajib to do tawaf from outside. So if we go to Karbala and do tawaf of the zari of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, it is not bid'at, it is sunnah. You see, there are so many proofs we can use from Quran and Hadith. Visiting the graves. Kuntu anhaakum an ziyarat al-qubur. This is in Sahih Bukhari. Fazuruha. I used to stop you before. This is not a Shia Hadith. But now I tell you to visit the graves because they are the greatest lesson for you. Unfortunately, in 1925, according to the Islamic calendar, 1344, Hijrah, Ali Saud decided to destroy the graves of the Ahlul Bayt, Sahaba, and the wives of the Prophet in Jannatul Baqi. Tonight is one of the most sad nights in our Islamic calendar, as Fatimah Zahra did not leave this world of natural death. She died of pain. She died of her wounds. And there are two wounds that Imam Sadiq mentions. He says, Amirul Mu'mineen, our grandfather, could not forget two wounds. Those zakham hamare dada bhula nahi paaye. Maula, which are the two wounds? He said one was a mark on her right shoulder when Qunfuz hit her with the cover of the sword when she was not letting go of the Aba of Amirul Mu'mineen. And the second on her left side of the body where her ribs were broken. Can you imagine the greatest lady leaves this world in the most painful way? And you have heard the famous hadith where the Holy Prophet says to Hazrat Fatimah Zahra, Fatima, this is Malakul Maut, angel of death. He does not take permission from anyone when he takes the ruh. He is only waiting at my door because of you, O Fatima. O Muslims, even when the angels come to the door of Fatima, they do not just enter. Why? Because they want the Muslims to know the dignity of her door. Don't burn down the door of Fatima. You know, when on her last day, on this day, she called on to some few ladies and she said, "Oh Asma, I do not wish for men to look at my height. When my body is being carried to the cemetery, people will know my height." Hazrat Asma said, "Oh my lady, when I was with Ja'far al-Tayyar, my husband, Shaheed Ja'far al-Tayyar, in Habasha, the people of Habasha in Africa used to carry the bodies in coffins. Shall I make you a coffin?" She said, "Asma, I will do your shafaat. Please make me a coffin." Hazrat Asma made a coffin. I would say, "Oh Hazrat Fatima, you want a coffin for yourself? Please come and see in Kufa. Your daughters are brought to the streets of Kufa, where na-mahram men are standing and stoning them and calling them sisters of traitors. Oh my lady, how will you take the pain of seeing your daughters in the streets of Damascus, in the streets of Kufa?" Ajrakum Allah. I will recite the full Masaib tonight. I hope people stay with me and come to Medina. Hazrat Fatima said, "Oh Fidda, when my two sons Hassan and Husayn come home, first give them food and then tell them that I have left this world. Because I do not wish for my sons to be hungry after me." Probably she is thinking about Karbala, that her children and grandchildren will remain hungry for days. She says, "Give them food first and then tell them that I have left." Then she calls on to Hazrat Ayman. She says, "O Ayman, O Fidda, when Ali gives me ghusl, help him give me ghusl." Why? Because she knows that Ali has ghaira. When he sees the wounds of Fatima at night, he will not be able to handle. Then she makes other wills. And then she says to Amir al-Mu'mineen the night before, this is the night when she makes a will to Hazrat Ali alayhi salam. She says, Ya Abul Hasan, Ya Ali, ghassilni bil-layl. Give me ghusl at night. Wahannitni bil-layl. Give me hunut at night. Wakaffinni bil-layl. Give me kafan at night. Wasalli alayya bil-layl. Read my janaza at night. Wadaffinni bil-layl. And bury me at night. Ya Ali, don't invite the people of Medina to my funeral. They have hurt me so much, I do not wish for them to attend my funeral. Hazrat Fatima Zahra is in her last night. Before the last few nights, one day some lady came and said, "O Fatima, we have seen with our own eyes, when Ali walks through the bazaar of Medina, people of Medina do not say salam to Ali." She cried the whole day and she waited for Imam Ali alayhi salam to come home. She said, Ya Abul Hasan, ladies are telling me people of Medina don't do salam to you. Is this true? Imam Ali alayhi salam said, "Oh Fatima, not only that they don't do salam to me, when I do salam to them, they don't even reply to me. People of Medina do not even reply to my salam." She cried and said, "Oh Father, look at us after you. What the people of Medina have done to us." Her last few days. You know, there are 4 coffins which are the most difficult of coffins that the history has ever mentioned. The first one is of Fatimah Zahra. The second one is the granddaughter of Fatima, Sakina bintul Husayn. And that coffin is in Damascus, when a brother with shackles in his hands lifts the small coffin and says, "Oh Father, come and take your daughter." The third coffin is of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam in Medina. And the fourth one is of Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, where 4 labor men pick up the coffin of Imam Musa Kazim and place it on the bridge of Baghdad and say, "O people of Baghdad, Mata Imamur Rafada, the Imam of deviated people have died." But the first coffin is of Fatimah Zahra. When Imam Ali alayhi salam was giving ghusl to Fatimah Zahra, he had placed 7 chadars, 7 coffins, above the body of Hazrat Fatimah Zahra. And when he was pouring water on the left hand side, he suddenly felt there is a hand that is not moving. He tried to move the hand second time. When he could not move it, he said, "Oh Fatima, please move your hand. Oh Fatima, you know it is wajib to pour water on the entire body. Please move your hand." As soon as the hand moved, the lion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started crying loudly. He placed the water on the ground and said, "Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra." Hazrat Fizza said, "O lion of Allah, Ya Asad Allah, Ya Ali, you are lion of Allah. We have never seen a lion cry so loudly. Ya Ali, what is wrong?" Mawla Ali said, "Oh Fizza, Fatima, hide it from me, that her ribs were all broken." ए फिजा फातिमा ने मुझसे छुपाया, फातिमा की सारी पसलियां टूट गई थी. Just 5 to 10 more minutes. Please bear with me. Hazrat Amir al-Mu'mineen placed the body of Hazrat Fatima inside the coffin. Look in Baitul Ahzan, Sheikh Abbas Qumi says, he called on to Fizza and said, "Oh Fizza, please call my children to say their final farewell to Fatima. Say their final words to their mother." The hadith says the first person to come to the body of Hazrat Fatima was Hazrat Zainab. Hazrat Zainab came and started crying and said, "Father, please bury me with my mother. I do not wish to live after my mother." Mawla Ali could not take the crying of his daughters. He loved Hazrat Zainab very much. Hazrat Zainab went and brought her sister, Hazrat Kulthum. Both of the sisters were crying. Mawla Ali asked, "Fizza, where are my 2 sons? Call my 2 sons." Hazrat Fizza said, "Oh my masters, Hassan and Husayn, your father is saying say farewell to your mother." Imam Hassan came from the right side of the coffin. embraced his mother, started crying loudly, and said, "Oh mother, I cannot live without you." Mawla said, "Oh Fizza, where is my son Husayn?" Hazrat Fizza said, Mawla Husayn says, if my mother is the beauty of Maryam, then I am beauty of Jesus. I am the beauty of Isa. Until my mother calls me, I will not come. Imam Ali called, "Oh Husayn, come and say farewell to your mother." Imam Husayn said, "Yes, I will come." He came because Imam Ali called. He came and stopped at the door and started crying and said, "Mother, please call me." The riwayat says that the coffin opened and the two hands of Fatima came out. My heart says she must have said, "Oh my thirsty son, oh my mazloom son, oh my oppressed son, oh my son, please come. I'm not leaving you. I will go to Karbala with you. When Shimr strikes his sword on your neck, I will place my hands on your neck." Imam Husayn came and embraced his mother, started crying. Both Hassan and Husayn alayhi salam were crying loudly. The riwayat says Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam came down and said, "Ya Ali, remove Hassan and Husayn from the body of Fatima. For all the angels have stopped doing ibadat. They're all saying, 'Ya Allah, whose mother have you taken away?' They are crying so badly we cannot take it. I would say, oh angels, wait till Husayn goes through Karbala. When people trample the body of Husayn, when people kill Hassan alayhi salam with poison and the parts of his liver come out, Mawla Ali removed Imam Hassan and Husayn alayhi salam, and then he lifted the body, the coffin, just last few minutes. The riwayat says there are only 14 people present in the funeral of Hazrat Fatima. Only 14 men. Imam Ali alayhi salam picked up the coffin. The coffin left the house. "Please come to Medina with me." It was night. It was dark. Imam Ali alayhi salam was carrying the coffin from the front. He suddenly heard someone walk behind the coffin. He stopped the coffin and said, "Oh Hassan, my son, look behind, who is coming? I can hear someone walk behind the coffin." Imam Hassan said, "Yes, father, my sister Zainab is coming." Hazrat Zainab was only 6 or 5 years old at the time of the martyrdom of Hazrat Fatima Zahra. But do you know what Imam Ali said? Mawla Ali alayhi salam said, "Hassan, my son, take your sister Zainab back to the house. For the funeral of Fatima will not move forward until Zainab goes back home." I would say with my hands tied to Imam Ali alayhi salam, "Mawla, Zainab is covered. Mawla, your daughter has burqa. Mawla, this is night. It is the funeral of her mother. Her father is with her. Her brothers are with her. Mawla, what would you do when she comes out in the streets of Kufa? And she is not even covered properly. And all the men are saying the daughters and sisters of traitors are coming. बागियों की बहनें आ गईं. मौला कूफे के बाजार में क्या करेंगे आप?" Allahu Akbar. Mawla says, "No, oh Hassan, take my daughter Zainab back to the house." There are 11 men other than the Ahlul Bayt. Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hassan, Imam Husayn, and there are 11 other men. Hazrat Aqil, Hazrat Abdullah ibn Jafar al-Tayyar, Hazrat Abbas, Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Masud. These are the people in the funeral. Last words before I conclude. Have you seen a funeral? There are a few people who give the body and there are few people who take the body in the grave. When Imam Ali alayhi salam picked up the body of Hazrat Fatima, he looked around. Hassan and Husayn were small. All others were na mahram. He cried and said, "Assalamu alayka ya Rasul Allah, anni wa an safiyatika Salutations be upon you, O Messenger of Allah, from me and from your daughter Fatima, As-Sariyatul Haqibik, who has hastened to come to you. Ya Rasul Allah, apni amanat wapas le lein. O Messenger of Allah, take your daughter from me, for there is no one to take the body inside the grave. As soon as Maula Ali said these words, 2 hands rose from the grave of Fatima. The Imam gave the body to the Holy Prophet. But I would say that the Imam would be saying, مولا نے جب رسول خدا کو ان کی بیٹی کا جنازہ دیا ہوگا تو ایک جملہ کہا ہوگا, یا رسول اللہ آرام سے لیجئے گا, یہ وہ فاطمہ نہیں جو آپ نے مجھے دی تھی, اس فاطمہ کی پسلیاں ٹوٹ گئی ہیں, یا رسول اللہ جنازہ آرام سے لیجئے. الا لعنت اللہ علی القوم الظالمین وسیعلم الذین ظلموا ای منقلب ینقلبون. بس بھئی آپ نے صرف مصائب سنے ہیں. امام حسن و حسین نے ماں کو اس حالت میں دیکھا تھا. پروردگارا واسطہ بی بی کی عظمتوں کا, ہمیں امام زمانہ کا ظہور دیکھنا نصیب فرما. بس بھئی only just few words of دعا. پروردگارا پوری دنیا میں کتنی روشنی ہے, اور یہ ساری روشنی جناب سیدہ کے صدقے میں ہے, لیکن جناب سیدہ کی قبر پہ چراغ جلانے کی اجازت نہیں ہے. Oh Allah, for the sake of Fatima to Zahra, we want to see Jannatul Baqi rebuilt. Oh Allah, hasten in the reappearance of the 12th Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. Oh Allah, there is a lot of oppression across the globe. Remove all the oppression from the surface of the earth. Oh Allah, remove coronavirus from the surface of the earth. Oh Allah, many mu'mineen have asked us to pray for them. Oh Allah, for the sake of Fatima to Zahra salamullah alayha, remove all the problems from all the mu'mineen. Oh Allah, there are people who are unwell, give them health. There are people who have no children, bless them with children. People who have children, bless them with guidance. Oh Allah, there is a project that the brothers have started in this masjid, give them success. Oh Allah, for the sake of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad alayhimus salam, we want to see the zuhur of Imam Zamana and be a part of his army. Oh Allah, for the sake of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, there are so many wars going on. Put an end to all the wars across the globe. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم بحق محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. ماتم حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.
Ya Husayn, Ya Husayn, Ya Husayn, Husayn, Husayn. قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, اپنے بچوں کو کلیجے سے لگا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے, قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر دیکھ کر فاطمہ زہرا کا شکستہ پہلو دیکھ کر فاطمہ زہرا کا شکستہ پہلو قبر میں غربت زہرا پہ پیمبر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر غسل دیتے ہوئے زخموں پہ نظر جب پہنچی غسل دیتے ہوئے زخموں پہ نظر جب پہنچی ہچکیاں لیتے ہوئے فاتح خیبر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے اماں جب تک نہ بلائے گی نہ آئے گا حسین اماں جب تک نہ بلائے گی نہ آئے گا حسین کہہ کے شبیر بہت دیری تڑپ کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر شب کی تاریکی میں زہرا کا جنازہ اٹھا شب کی تاریکی میں زہرا کا جنازہ اٹھا سوچ کر دین کے اٹھے تڑپ کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے ہائے رے زینب کلثوم کی آہو زاری ہائے رے زینب کلثوم کی آہو زاری اتنا بے چین تھے سلمان و ابو ذر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے آج مولا پہ میرے کیسے قیامت ٹوٹی آج مولا پہ میرے کیسے قیامت ٹوٹی آسمانوں سے فرشتے بھی اتر کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے قبر زہرا پہ علی سر کو جھکا کر روئے یا حسین یا حسین ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین تیرے نام ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین تیرے نام، جانے کس حسد کی آگ تھی سیدہ کے گھر کو جو لگی، یہ وہ در تھا خود جسے نبی چومتے تھے بہر احترام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین تیرے نام، ہر درود کون آشنا ظلم ہے، بس یہ انتہائے ظلم ہے، وہ جو خود بلائے ظلم ہے، فاطمہ ہو اس سے ہم کلام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین تیرے نام، ہر درود مادر حسین تے جا کے مصطفیٰ کی خبر پر روز کہتی تھی وہ نوحہ گر، جب سے تم گئے ہو چھوڑ کر سہ رہی ہوں ظلم صبح و شام، ہر درود ہر مادر حسین تیرے نام، ہر درود جب نفاسقوں سے حق ملا گھر جب آئی بنت مصطفیٰ، بیٹیوں کو دیکھ کر کہا فاطمہ نے عائشہ شام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین ہر درود اور ہر سلام غم یہ فاطمہ کو کھا گیا غاصبوں نے بعد مصطفیٰ، ہائے جس طرح بھلا دیا مسند رسول کا مقام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین تیرے نام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر جلتے در نے زخم وہ دیا بہر تھام کر یہ دی صدا، پیارے بابا جان مر گیا ہائے میرا لال تشنہ کام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین تیرے نام، ہر درود مادر ہائے کیا یہ حال کر دیا فاطمہ ہے زخم سے نڈھال، صبح شام رب ذوالجلال جس پہ بھیجتا ہوں خود سلام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین تیرے نام، ہر درود اور ہر سلام مادر حسین یا حسین
بر محمد وعلى محمد صلى الله وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك وعلى جدك وأبيك، السلام عليك وعلى أمك وأخيك، السلام عليك على تسعة المعصومين من ذريتك وبنيك، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا شمس الشمس، السلام عليك يا نيس النفوس أيها المضفون بأرض طوس، يا أبا الحسن يا لي ابن مثنى روحي وجسمي وقلبي لك الفداء. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله طال فرجك واستحل الله طال مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات رحم الله من قال الفاتحة.